Okay. Okay, what's Drink and Draw?
Drink and Draw is the coolest and most awesomest artist collective you will find in Berlin.
And who's part of Drink and Draw?
Julian, Helen, Baya, Hannah, Kevin, and me, Eileen.
What do you guys do?
We do workshops, we organize parties, we do installations, we do weekly live drawing sessions and all kinds of artsy stuff.
What's that weird sound that I'm hearing?
That's probably our boat bumping into boats next to us.
You guys are on a boat?
We are on a boat and it's called Helene. It's a 90-year-old freight boat and it's in the middle of Berlin, so you should totally check it out when you're in the area.
Cool, I will. What do I need to bring?
Well, you can bring whatever you want. Bring your mom, bring your friends, bring your dog. But you can bring drawing materials or you can just use what we have around here.
Awesome, sounds great.
Cool. All right, well, welcome you guys to our Drink and Draw stream for Wacom, Creative Chaos. This is Lars Weiler. I'm Eileen Tretter. I'm gonna do the interview part. We have Kika right back here drawing for us for the first 15 minutes. And yeah, as you can see, we are on our home boat right now. So this is, we are in Berlin. And this is where we host weekly drawing sessions. Today, Tsuki is going to be our fantastic model. He's going to strike some awesome poses in various costumes, actually. And you guys on your PC are totally invited to draw along if you want to. Just grab some materials, whatever you feel comfortable with, and do some awesome stuff, basically. Lars and I, the person that's gonna get interviewed, and I were gonna throw in like a random prompt at the beginning of each pose, and the drawer can, you as the drawer and our drawer back here, can totally put that into the drawing as well, if you want to. It's just like another inspiration. So what do you suggest for Tsuki's pose right now? What comes to mind?
What comes to mind? Shoot.
I think it looks really high fashion.
It does.
So maybe like a fashion show vibe, I don't know.
Like a catwalk?
Like a catwalk or fashion theme. I don't know. I really like the pose. It's just really striking. Okay, awesome. So that would be the first prompt if you want to include that into your drawing. High fashion catwalk, something like that. And yeah, we're gonna just do basically about 2 hours of like interviews and podcasty style, living room style, getting to know the artists behind Drink and Draw, basically. We have a ton of cool guests that are gonna draw with us and for us and talk with us. And yeah, the person that is drawing right now is gonna be the next one on the interview chair, if that makes sense. So you can already check out Kika's drawing and then you're gonna get to know her later in the interview, basically, or in the like podcast. And Lars is gonna be the show opener for the interviews, and he's gonna close basically the session by drawing the last pose of the evening. And yeah, I think that's it. We can just get comfortable, grab a drink.
I'm already comfortable. I'm comfortable.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I mean, yeah, cool. So Lars, he's an illustrator. He moved to Berlin like, what, a year ago?
Almost exactly a year ago, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, 11 months precisely.
And since you've moved to Berlin, you're basically like a very important part of our crew as well, because he teaches, or you teach, a lot of life drawing courses, actually.
Yeah.
So how did you get into teaching?
Oh dear. By necessity almost. My old school, they misscheduled a course and left the first semester kind of without a teacher. So I started prepping some stuff and didn't want to leave them hanging, and kind of evolved from there.
Nice. So you just did that, and the teacher, like the school, didn't even ask you to do it, or did they want you to do it?
We're just kind of left hanging, but...
Dang.
Yeah.
So you just kind of stepped into the spot, kind of.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
did what was necessary.
we could have done without a teacher, but I felt like it was about life drawing, was very passionate about that, and I felt like if there's no one explaining it, because it's always this like weird contact issue with life drawing, like, oh, there's a naked person on stage. You need someone to actually explain like how to approach this and like certain techniques to maybe even avoid. And yeah, I figured if they had that, then they probably would be more engaged with the entire idea of doing life drawing.
Cool. So it's basically like you were really passionate about it, and then the spot was open and you kind of stepped in and it all started from there, basically. Yeah. And then what happened afterwards? I mean, we actually went to the same school, so I kind of know the story already. But at some point they just ask you to be like an official teacher, right?
They asked me to be an official teacher, though not for life drawing, but for perspective, because we already had a very competent life drawing teacher, but jokes on them, perspective and life drawing have a lot in common, so we could actually do like some life drawing lessons within perspective, so
cool.
that happened.
I mean, the forms and the cylinders
exactly,
are always like same thing, basically. Cool. What would you say is like for you the main difference between teaching and studying for yourself?
Ooh, well, with studying for yourself, you're very, obviously self-orientated, because you can just focus on, okay, what do I need to know? When it comes to teaching, my approach is that I kind of want to be able to know everything so I can answer everything.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's a good thing in a teacher. And even if you don't know everything, just being able to say, okay, I don't know this, but give me a week and I can figure it out for myself. So you don't just teach dogmatically, but you actually, teach from a point of understanding and, like a mutual understanding of, okay, art is difficult, and even if there's something that you don't know, you can figure it out because the tools to learn are like out there.
For sure. I mean, especially in our times with like the internet, YouTube, everything, you can basically, you can Google it for yourself, but it's also really, really helpful if a teacher kind of breaks it down and like gets what you individually basically need right now.
Definitely.
Right?
That's the cool thing about a teacher. They can actually look at what you're doing and say, okay, you're lacking in this and this and that. And then they can point you towards the proper resources, because if that's not there, the internet is huge, as it turns out. So actually trying to find the things that are suited for your particular situation, it's really hard. So I think that's like the thing of a modern teacher. Aside from teaching an approach, you can also be the guy to actually become like a nexus of resources and then relay that.
Cool. Oh, okay. So it's more about like not knowing everything yourself, but knowing where to get it, and also kind of pointing the student into the right direction where they can get additional information.
Yeah, basically. And also I think staggering the amount of information that they actually get. Because I did it yesterday, like, okay, there are these 4 books that you could totally read on this topic, and then nobody's going to read 4 books on one topic. But you can start with this one in that chapter, and then the rest, if you're interested, do that. But yeah.
So yeah, okay, that makes total sense. So you also teach workshops here at our boat, like I don't know, a couple times a year. And I was wondering, how do you manage with like different backgrounds of your students? Because some of our people are just like beginners, they just want to learn all the basics, kind of just know where to start. And some of them are literal professional artists working in the industry and just striving for like skill perfection. How do you do that in like a 2 or 6 hour workshop?
It's hard. It's I think the most difficult aspect about teaching in general, because I've taught workshops where you have like all backgrounds, but it's kind of the same thing when you teach a class at school, where you think, okay, first semester everybody is at a similar skill level. They're not. There's different kinds of understanding, different kinds of ability to pick up things. So you're always trying to get like a grip on how they're thinking. At least in drawing, you can get a really good idea as to like where they're struggling, because it's so direct, it's like line and everything. So you know, okay, if the line is not confident, then you can tell, okay, they need to actually just draw more. And if the perspective is off, then they just need to take it a step slower. Usually just draw the horizon line. Trust me, you'll need it later.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. But actually trying to figure out like the biggest point of anxiety is when someone is really like very, very, very decent to the point that you cannot actually tell where they're struggling.
Okay.
They're not amazing, but they're super decent. So you know you're supposed to say something to help them somewhere, but proportions look like almost perfect. Anatomy looks almost perfect. Perspective looks almost perfect. And you can just say, just draw more, which is, I don't like that advice, because drawing more, you can just practice the wrong things, right? So you want to tell them something to actually get a grip on one topic in particular. Otherwise, why am I even there? Like, they know they need to draw more. Everybody knows that. So how can I be helpful? And that's the point where I struggle most. Like, otherwise, just all the things I mentioned, just, focus on that one, because I think you get the most out of that. Like, there's always this point of, I like to call it collateral learning, where you study one thing, and some other parts of drawing are intrinsically linked to it, like with perspective. And
snowball into the other parts.
So, for example, I want someone to get more into perspective, and they're really not interested in perspective, which is understandable. It's a tough topic. But if you teach them like anatomy and the approach to break down anatomy into forms, then suddenly they're dealing already with cubes and spheres and that kind of stuff, and then you can just nudge them. So if you just link those to a horizon line and just imagine this muscle you use that you drew as a box, like with a Bridgman book, for example, like when we follow Bridgman's principles, you just imagine that as a room, and suddenly, that's perspective. So you can just kind of Trojan horse the entire thing.
Yeah, you like slightly, really, really slowly move over. Okay, that's actually it for this pose. I will have just one last...
We have 5 more minutes.
Oh, 5 more minutes. Oh, sorry. Never mind. I mistook the side. Oopsie. Okay, that's perfect. 5 more minutes, because I have one question that's hopefully really useful for our viewers, which would be, so if you're like a total beginner but you really want to get into drawing, what would you recommend? I mean, there are so many recommendations one could give, but your personal, maybe what you did to get into drawing, I don't know, some
Oh, you don't want to follow my way of trying to draw. It involves a lot of really bad how to draw anime books, so let's cut that out.
Everyone starts somewhere.
Yeah, they do. But there are good books on that topic, but mine were atrocious. I'm not going to mention them, but they were, oh boy.
I had a couple. I really liked them.
We need to compare notes at some point, because I think we might have had the same book.
Oh man,
would be cool. So where do you start? I think start with what interests you. I think that's the most important part, because in arts, usually people say you're so talented, and no, it's usually just persistence. But persistence needs to come from a point of interest, I think, or a desire to earn money with this skill, I guess. But interest, I think, is the most important bit. So say if you really like perspective, then there's Scott Robertson's books, which I think give a really good in-depth look at how to do it, and also combining studies with practical applications. So you don't just, because that was my mistake too, you just hone in on this one book and you study that, but you never really apply it. So that's the other thing. So if you like perspective, look at one book that's very technical, but also then try to apply what you read there. When you just sketch environments, when you sit down within a town and you just draw buildings, try to apply what you just did. Same with anatomy. So you have an anatomy book like Michael Hampton's book or Andrew Loomis's book, which is a classic. And then you try to actually apply that in life drawing, and don't just try to apply to this weird mannequin whose proportions are really off, and you shouldn't study only that thing, because I've seen that happen too.
So basically, if you learn something technical about drawing, as soon as you can, try to put it into practice in your own way, basically. Yeah. So, that makes sense.
The added benefit there is that if you do this regularly, and you just keep doing this cycle of I study something up and I try to actually work it into what I'm interested in, you see constant progress, which I think beginners need to. Everybody needs that, but beginners especially, because drawing is this really broad, amazing topic. And not seeing, you can just practice every single bit of drawing, everything from perspective or design towards drawing,
colors,
drawing from
values, everything, composition.
Yeah, you can study every single part of that, clockwise, and you will never get any further, because your progress is so incremental that, you will never get anywhere, it feels like. But if you just, hone in on one thing, then you actually see, increases in understanding and skill over a very short period of time, and then that's what actually helps me, and then you can keep doing that, and it's very rewarding and fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the thing with taking 100 steps in 100 directions, or taking 100 steps in one direction. Yeah, kind of like that.
Pretty much, but also you get this collateral aspect too. So
Okay, so
while it's
yeah.
so everything that's kind of adjacent to this topic becomes a bit more traversable.
Right.
So then you can just kind of widen that gap. Well, not widen the gap, but widen the understanding there.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, that makes sense. So yeah. Awesome. How much time do we have? 1 minute. One last minute. All right, Kika. It's on. Yeah, so cool. So what do you prefer actually? Do you prefer life drawing without costume or with a costume model? Can you say that, or does it vary?
I prefer life drawing without a costume. Usually because I tend to just walk into this direction without ever looking back and see where I should probably track back. So there's so much to explore with just anatomy and just a person. Also, every person is different. So I feel like every time a new model steps up, I need to start from the beginning to try and actually understand how they work.
Sure.
So I just like doing that. It just never gets boring for me.
Yeah, and I mean you can, in an afterthought, still kind of dress the person, right?
Yeah.
From imagination or from reference.
Definitely, yeah.
Cool. That's really good. So I think that's it this time for real. Thank you for this post, Suki. Okay. Alright, here we are with our next guest. So you just saw her drawing. This is Kika Kratch. She's an illustrator living in Berlin. Drawing for us right now is Baya. He's part of our awesome Drink and Draw team. And yeah, he will be in the interview seat next. So our first thing is that we have to find something to say about Suki's outfit and pose to give to Baya. What do you suggest, Kika?
Somehow it reminds me of a motorcycle guy, with like a helmet or something like that. And especially with the belt. Like, I'm actually very sad that I didn't manage to do it in my drawing. But it's also like that half of his torso is out. Maybe we can also play with that. Like maybe some.
So maybe like some motorcycle gang stuff.
Ooh, the category is
motorcycle gang. There we go. I think that's awesome. I think Baya will pull it off with like maybe some sick tattoos on his arm or something. I don't know. Okay. Well, we'll see. It's gonna be cool.
Not too much details.
Awesome. So it's so cool to have you here today.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here.
I really love your drawing. I think it looked really high fashion. And with like the pink background and everything. Awesome. Really cool. So yeah, I think we actually never talked about this. I thought about it when I was like thinking, so okay, what I'm going to talk to the people about basically. So I'm really interested, like, how did you get into drawing? Basically, like, what was your first inspiration to like do that?
So this is actually pretty unusual story because I never draw as a kid.
Oh really?
Like I was never into it. Like my first really true contact with drawing was, I remember, so you have the school before high school when you're like since I think 13 till 15, like something like that.
School.
Yeah. And at the beginning, one of my best friends was like really wanted to go to this like drawing camp, and she couldn't find any friends to go with her. And I was like, when I was like, oh, I'm actually good at this.
Oh wow.
And this is how I start. And I remember we used to have these exhibitions in high school, when I could already draw a little bit more of like our journey and how it happened, and all of other people had so many drawings when they were kids. And I was like, what?
I don't have that.
Here's like a cute picture of me as a baby, that's it. Thank you.
Wait, what did you like gift to your parents or family? Because that's what I always did. I always drew like shitty
I had
pictures.
elder sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was like in charge of that, so
you were just like,
it's like, I'm just gonna smile.
I'm the present,
cute.
you guys.
Yeah. No, that's literally how it went. Yeah.
That's sweet. All right, that's really unusual, because I think literally everyone is just like, oh, I've been drawing for ever and ever. And
I'm always jealous of those stories. When people are like, I've been destined to be an artist. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. I just kind of figured that you were. Yeah. But so you like at this drawing camp, you just figured out you were good at it, and you also really liked it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Of course. Like I remember then I started taking classes with this amazing teacher from my hometown. And she had this, we were drawing in her living room, and there was like this whole atmosphere. I remember she was always bringing us some nuts and green tea. And just like, you know, just her presence was like so soothing. I was like, oh my god, I wish I would be like that when I'm gonna grow older. And this is how it started. I actually wanted to study fashion. Now when I'm thinking about the topic from my drawing, but I actually studied design, which I actually think was a very good choice for me.
But do you still do something with fashion, or is that completely out of the picture?
I never did anything with fashion. I went straight for... first I studied the product design, then I studied visual communication. I actually started working as a UI designer, and while I was working as a UI designer, I just did illustration for one website, and then like guys from my company that I used to work with in Weston, they were like, okay girl, this is pretty good illustrations, like would you like to continue with that here? I was like,
cool.
Well, of course, like this is one of the coolest jobs you can have, right?
Damn.
So
you kind of lucky accidentally got
exactly.
into
I was just like
illustration.
in the right place at the right time.
Awesome.
So that's how it happened.
That's so cool. All right, we have 10 more minutes for you guys at home drawing along, and also for Baya to note. So would you say like illustration is your dream job, or are you kind of leaning towards something else in the future, basically? Because you started with UI design, right? And
yes.
now you're in illustration work. Do you want to continue, or do you want to do something else at some point?
I definitely want to continue with that. I remember at the beginning when I started it was very unsettling for me, because when you UI designer, you have a very nice view of your future career. You can go to UX, then you can be like creative director, all of that. You know, it's very, very simple.
Like laid out.
Exactly.
Basically.
Of course, you can choose through different paths, but all of those paths are very well explained. While for me, illustration was something a bit unknown. I didn't know where I can take it. Now it's a bit different. Now I know what I want to do. It's also, I feel like way more comfortable with what I'm doing, and it brings me so much joy. And also, I would never think that my job can take me to so many places. Also, you know, introduce me to so many people. Like the contact with people, it's so easy. You have your Instagram, you can reach to other artists, you can talk with people about your art. It's just like, it opens so many doors, not only when it comes to career. I feel like illustration is one of the jobs that it's basically your life. And it's very hard, I think, not to be your life.
That's true. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, for me, the same thing actually with Drink and Draw. I kind of just started going here because I was into art and wanted to know more people that are into art. And now it's kind of crept in more and more into my life, and I kind of like, you know, do it as a job, or kind of like a job. And so I know what you mean. It kind of infiltrates everything, and then you work with that.
And then you see something on the sort of like, that will be a good illustration, right? This is a good topic.
That's so cool. And you also had like an exhibition, like with like a festival thing a few months ago.
You mean the film festival, or you
Right.
mean with the stickers? Because two different things.
Yeah, actually
I can
both.
tell about both.
Tell about both. I mean, I think I got them mixed up in my head. But
The company that I was illustrator in does also the short animation films.
Right.
And we actually send our projects to many film festivals. And the festival that I visited right now was the Supertum Film Festival in Croatia. So I was there as a guest. Oh, it was so nice. But like you also, I think 2 weeks ago, there was also short film festival in Berlin as well, right?
That's right.
So that was that. And I think with the exhibition we did with the Boys Club Berlin, the girls from there, which is like, I love them so much. It's a creative collective in Berlin, and it's like a very nice, because it's only girls, so the Boys Club is, you know,
cool.
a little bit of the joke.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we did stickers that supposed to bring the awareness about the situation that's going on in Poland, because I'm Polish.
Right.
And it's about homophobia that's happening, unfortunately, right now. And like, as we know, the situation is going worse and worse. So we just wanted to do something about it, and we just created those stickers that you can just buy and support the cause in that way.
That's really cool. I really love them, and I have a bunch of them.
Thank you.
Put them everywhere, like on my Facebook, literally. And
I'm always just like trying to, I don't know, do something that's gonna change something in a way. Like I feel, you know, because usually my illustrations are used to advertise something. So when I can do something that actually has like a bit more meaning, I'm not saying that making illustration for advertisement doesn't. But when I can do something that actually is for some sort of cause, it always brings this additional joy to it.
It adds like purpose basically to what you do.
Yes.
So would you say that the illustration you like to do best are the ones that have like the strongest purpose behind them? Or, I mean, some people, I mean, for me, I really like doing stuff just like for the sake of it, because like super random basically, and usually I like the most random things the most than the most like planned out things basically. So would you say you like the random things more, or like the purposeful, like driven illustrations, if that makes sense?
I think I try to lean more towards the driven one, although I just do love just drawing because it's nice, and I just like to draw pretty things, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I just make illustration because I like the connection of the colors, or I just see like, for example, in Drink and Draw, I always just draw models and the people drawing, which is like one of my favorite topics.
Right.
But
you draw the people that are drawing.
I love it. Like the people drawing is like my favorite topic because they basically don't move.
It's true.
And people in Berlin, oh my god, like they all have such an amazing outfits. Like they're the best to draw. So the best city ever for illustrators, I have to say.
That's true.
The street fashion here is on point.
It's true. And also I feel like all the people going to Drink and Draw, they're like super fashionable as well.
I mean,
like
artists,
especially
right? So
fashionable.
Obviously.
No, it's true. All right, we have 5 more minutes for you people drawing along, and also for Bayer.
Snap.
Oh, snap. So okay, so your career basically took you in a, like the illustration thing was kind of like just happening to you.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to ask you if you have like any career advice for like beginners that want to get into the art scene.
I do, of course I do.
Awesome.
I mean, I think I have advice for the beginner in any career, which is like never choose your job based on money. So like just never think what you should do. Just never be like, okay, like this style right now is trendy, so I should like go for this, or like, you know, this topic is like right now on everywhere, so I just like should do it. Just do whatever you feel like doing. Just find your voice. Give yourself a space to find your style, to find what you want to say, and just wait and do it. Don't just try to force it, I guess.
Yeah, okay. So like just
go with the flow, man. Just
go with the flow. Just vibe. No, that's really good advice, because I feel sometimes when people are really set on what they want to do, which is also a good thing because they're driven and motivated and like focused to do that, but you also get a lot of pressure that comes with that. So they're like, I know I want to be an illustrator. I know I want to do this the rest of my life. I want to be professional. I want to earn money with it. And then they kind of maybe force it a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah,
because
and they maybe
so
like close
set.
themselves a bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's another thing that I think we also talk here quite frequently. Like, you should not only focus your life on art. Like, you should get inspiration from all of different things in your life, right? So just try to get also inspired from I don't know, sport, books, theater. Like it actually doesn't even have to be artistic at all.
Yeah.
So that's also.
Do you have like a super random thing that inspires you that is not artistic?
Probably cooking, like food in general.
Right,
yeah,
that's
I have a friend that always just like, oh my god, she always gets so stressed while I'm cooking because I'm just like putting everything together and I'm just like trying it out. I'm not following the recipe. I mean, like, okay, those are the 5 things I need to use and I'm using them. But apart from that, I'm just like, whatever.
It's more like guidelines, not a recipe, really.
Exactly.
Okay. So what inspires you about cooking? Just like mixing different things together
But also the colors. And I think it's also about the mixing, but not only with the tastes, but like in general what it's gonna happen, and then like different textures. Like it's also
yeah. That's I think I read that once. I think it was like some sort of Japanese cook that was like, if your food has like only one color, then you should totally add another. Like if your food is only red, basically like red soup and then like some red vegetables, you should probably put something green on there, because it's a contrast, and it's also like usually a taste contrast.
Might be true. Although I have to say I find it oddly satisfying when you just make all of the, the whole dish is just like in one color. I love it. I'm not
Like
gonna lie.
monochromatic
Yes,
eating.
so pretty.
Should be like an Instagram channel.
We should have more pink food.
Okay.
Definitely more pink food. I don't know.
I could get behind that. Awesome. Yeah, really cool. Yeah, we're like on the last minute basically so I'm really excited to see what Baya did actually.
Yes.
Oh snap, what's gonna be?
I do penis, sorry. No pressure.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
but I have to say, like, this adding to the pose, it's, I think, one of my favorite also ways to create.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like you can, I don't know, even make yourself like illustrations with like choosing the random words, and then you have like few words and you make illustration out of it.
That's cool.
I think it really boosts your creativity.
I think it's fun as well. Yeah. And I think we did actually do that to implement like the chaotic creative chaos. That's kind of the over topic for the whole Wacom stream here. So that's kind of our take on the chaos, because it's like an unknown random aspect that you might not see.
But it's also very nice because you don't just draw the model, but you have like the whole idea behind it.
You have like a
really
story
cool.
to tell, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's it for this post, I think. Thank you so much, Suki. Cool. Yeah, thank you so much, Kika, for talking to me. It was super lovely. Aww. I'm really excited to see what Baya did, actually.
Everything's fine.
Awesome.
Take the time. It's 15 minutes, right?
Right, so yeah, welcome back.
Welcome.
We have Baya in the seat here.
Hello.
And Annabelle Kers, an illustrator from Berlin, drawing right now. She's going to do portrait. That's why the pose is also set up in portrait mode. It's going to be 15 minutes as the other ones. And what is going to be the prompt? I mean, we
already talked about it because
yeah.
it's perfect. We have this nice reddish and bluish light, which is almost like a violet or a pink. So we said Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon.
Fun
and
guys.
Yep,
Yeah.
I want to see a lot of moons, half crescent or whatever.
Yes.
Black cats,
Patterns.
long hair,
Yeah. If you can, colors. I mean, colors are always nice.
moonstone.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah,
a
everything.
weird cat with big eyes. I don't know. I think that's a thing. I
I'm
don't know.
down if you're down, honestly.
I'm always down. I'm Australia, so.
Okay. Oh, yeah, so thank you so much for coming today. I mean, it's literally your thing as well.
It's totally fun, yeah?
Wow.
I am sometimes here too.
I just like playing the host.
Yeah,
okay.
it's alright. You know, I'm gonna play the role too of the
Okay,
guest. Yeah.
you're the interviewer.
Thanks for inviting me, Eileen.
Sure,
Yes,
it's totally my boat.
yeah, I like to come here sometimes. So.
No, like
Same,
Baya has
yeah.
been Drink and Draw like OG member, original.
OG, yeah.
You've been like since the beginning, right?
Yeah, since the beginning with the Julian and the others.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was now it's like 6 or 7 years ago.
Dang, that's really
When
long.
we are started off getting
Yeah.
drunk and going to live drawing classes, and then figuring out, oh man, we can do that shit on ourselves at Julian's place.
Yep.
And then
then it
that's
just-
how it started in a way. So
Yeah, and now we're actually on a boat in Berlin, doing it literally every day.
every day, yeah.
Every
it's-
day.
it's- actually, that's the good thing about Corona. It kind of forces you to be more active in a way, because you have that more regulations. You have certain people that can come to classes, so you're just gonna make it a broader range of workshops and
Right.
classes. So
Yeah.
it was actually in a way beneficial for us. So yeah.
I mean, it was beneficial in the way that we had to do a lot more planning than usual.
Definitely.
And
yeah.
that's we came up with a lot more different concepts, like
Yeah.
the streaming on the Twitch
Yeah.
channel, for example,
Yeah.
getting a lot more comfortable with the online aspect, like we do right now, basically.
Yes.
Figuring out, like, we've been today on the boat, so this is pre-recorded. If you
Yes.
have not guessed already,
Don't write us.
we cannot answer your
Yeah,
chat messages. But yeah, we've been on the boat since like 6 or 7 hours, like
Yeah.
doing the setup and doing all the technical aspects.
Yes.
And I feel like next to illustrating and drawing, that's also something you really like doing. Is that right?
Yeah, I kind of like the. I think that everyone in this whole community is more like a jack of all trades in a way,
Okay.
because I think it's a thing for the whole art community in general. Because back in, I think I'm not sure because I'm not a professional in a way, but I think back in the days you could just be just focusing on one thing when you do art. But now there's a huge amount of things you can do when it comes to art. So you can't just focus on one thing and then just totally disregard the others. So that's why I have the feeling that all artists nowadays become like these jack of all trades, because they are tapping into all these different art forms.
Not only
And
art forms, but also
yeah.
like marketing, basically.
Yes,
with
yes.
the
And
social media stuff. You just
That's it, yeah.
You
yeah.
are your own little company if you work freelance, for
Yeah,
example.
that's true. And there are a lot of cool artists. They're great. They have nice content, but no one knows them because they're very bad at marketing. Maybe they don't have a person who tells them, "Oh, maybe you should be more active in this one. You should do this to get more range." And then there are more artists that maybe just started off, but they have a huge range because they're very good at marketing. And you have to balance it out in a way to get all the ranges and get a very nice, like I said, very nice range of.
Like a balance, basically. I think
Yes, yeah.
there is a place, like almost for everybody, because if you're like really not into the marketing aspect, but you're just like really focusing on your art, that means you're gonna get good like in a really short amount of time, maybe if you put like all your work into that, and then you will totally find jobs at like studios or wherever you want to work, because you just have all the skills that they need, even though you might be bad at marketing. But there's also a place for the people that are just like really good at marketing and just like you said, basically more jack of all trades. And the art is maybe not their like super most strongest thing yet, or they're from the skill set they're not like quite there yet. But they can still, do their thing and like maybe make a living out of it, just because they have this other qualities additionally, basically. Cool. So we have 10 more minutes for you drawing along. Also for Nabel. But
The pressure is real.
don't stress. No, it's actually not real. I mean, you said you're not a professional, but I think you actually are, because you are involved like in all the drink and draw stuff, and we're like a business basically. And you also do your own like personal illustration work, which is like really awesome. I mean, you've just basically saw like a sneak peek of what Baya is doing. But usually his stuff is like with pencil and like on a big scale, like almost A3, I would say, is your like most comfortable working canvas, and you embellish it with like leaf gold.
Yeah,
like
I work with leaf gold.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and what I think is really interesting about your artwork is like the kind of cultural aspects you put in there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's in a way for me to tap into my roots, because like I was born here in Berlin. My parents are from Mongolia, and like I was raised like in a very Mongolian, I would say. And I think for me, because I was my whole life in Germany, I went like sometimes to Mongolia for vacation or something. But then like this is for me another thing to just get hold of my roots and say, okay, there's actually more than that, and then I can tap into resources that other people maybe don't have, because I have all these old photos from my grandmother, like even for my parents when they were on vacation when we were children or something.
Okay.
And all these influences of the cultural influences that I can just use for that.
Right.
So I felt like for me it would be a great way to improve my art, because
it's true.
In a way improving art is like seeing other cultures, seeing things you don't know, and just improving your horizon in a way, because like your visual library.
Yeah.
Because that's actually a thing I would recommend to everyone if you want to work on like concepts or design or something. First, like, get that visual library, and like it's always easy to say travel or something, but you can even like just go out and meet some friends, museums. Nowadays it's so easy to get knowledge in this way. So if you have a very nice and very good visual library, you have so many different things you can tap onto.
Yeah, that's
and then when
true.
it's like even when you work with references, it's good to have this base knowledge of things. It's like, okay, I want to draw this guy, or maybe I should. Okay, I think I know how it looks, but then afterwards I'm going to look at the reference or something.
Right,
so
right. I think I mean I've seen you draw like multiple times, like countless times basically. And I think it's really interesting because you do work a lot with references, but you're also really good to like fill in the blanks from imagination. And that's something that like I think that you like must have trained along the way, because I feel like you're really comfortable at doing both.
I think maybe it's the way because I have that weird ability to remember things I don't need in a way.
Oh, okay.
It's like Lord of the Rings. So I could speak hours about that stuff. Yeah. And then when it comes to mathematics, I'm like, oh wait, what? What was that again? Sorry. But I don't know. It's maybe I was just lucky because I could just remember the stuff easily for me. And yeah.
But it's basically like, I think the things you remember most easily are the things that you're either really interested in or like subconsciously interested in, I guess, because like it just comes so naturally in a way.
Yeah, it's true.
To just do that.
It's kind of thing when you do something that you really like, and then it's so easy to, or like not easy, but it's much easier to just remember that or just have fun working on that. And yeah, that's always the most important aspect for me, to have fun in the things you do.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, that's why I still love to do this.
Love to do what you do.
Because it's every day is a bit different. You know, now we're in our ship, and it looks like a studio.
Yep.
Like we're shooting a movie or something, and then we're making this cool little podcast for Wacom, and it's always a lot of fun. And I work with a lot of creative and very talented people that I really like.
Yep.
And there's always new people to come and say, oh, okay, here today we have so many different artists that I don't know, which are super good. And we have nice workshops, and I meet new people there all the time, and it's
just really cool. Yeah,
could almost say it's my dream job in a way.
Yeah, damn, I was just about to ask that.
Yeah, it's
So when you got into drawing and illustration or whatever, did you see yourself working purely as an illustrator back then, or did you hope for something like this to happen, basically?
Oh, that's a difficult question, because I actually didn't start as a artist in a way, because I only did 3D art is art too, but I only did that in the beginning. Okay. I did like the low poly models for university, or like 3D art.
So what did you study at university?
I studied with Julian. That's my best buddy sitting over there.
Over there.
Game design at the HTW Berlin. And yeah, from there I started off that, and then we went into like live drawing and concept art, and I always did like little concepts for the 3D models, but that's it. Yep. And then I grew to love fine art too, in a way, and slowly like went into this whole thing, and it just kind of
happened that way.
Yeah, it kind of happened. Yeah, and then I never would have thought that something like that would happen. You know, having our own company where we just organize drawing events for students, for
companies, for
everything, and it's like,
whatever.
what? It's so crazy. And yeah, it's again this thing where you could just like say, okay, the guys is actually just try to start something. Yep. And yeah, I think it's really interesting. I thought about that today as well. What like the role of the artist is in like society. Okay, that sounds really deep. Give me a second. But like, all right, let's go meta. Come on.
Yeah, let's go there. I think you're the right person to do that with. But like, because today like creativity is so like honed in by everything, because even when you're in a job where you are supposed to be creative, usually it's like in really strict boundaries. You're like, think outside the box, but give me the result in like 2 hours. So that's kind of like opposing. So where do you see like the artist, or like even Drink and Draw, like what is kind of the purpose or like the role of us, basically?
I think the main purpose of us is not the workshops or like the classes. It's more about this whole community aspect, because that for us the most important thing is to bring artists together. Because I always like, for me the best thing in the university was not like learning about this art stuff. It was nice too, but it was more about the human connections, because you work together in a team, you give each other feedback, and then you grow together, and that's so like, that's in a way bonding. You learn so much, and you have like lasting friendships. Yeah. And that's, I think, the most important part, human connections. Yep. And then with these connections you can grow. And that's why I think that for Drink and Draw this is the biggest aspect. It's like, okay, we want to bring these people in a platform where they can meet up in classes, and then just chill here after the class, or come to our events and then meet, oh, it's you again, okay, cool, and then let's meet up next time too, and then it's the second, the third time, and then they become friends, and then they invite more friends, and they just start to draw together, and then maybe they even start like a company together, or a studio, who knows? Yeah, I mean, and that's like the little spark the fire or ember needs. So yeah. Yeah, that's I always tell the story in these occasions, but that's how Kevin and I got to Drink and Draw. Yeah, we literally, it's always been like 4 years or something. Yeah, now. It's crazy. Yeah. But we literally knew no one in Berlin, and we just had like this one internet friend of Kevin, and he was like, "Yeah, just go to Drink and Draw, and you will find like-minded people."
And that's what
Yeah.
happened. I mean, in the beginning we didn't really talk to you guys because we were
Yeah.
super shy, and you were super cool.
Man.
So, but like
Yeah.
after a while, we just kind of slipped into it,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, and then we worked on this big project where we were like, okay, we need more artists to work on because we were working on this huge
Like an exhibition
Exhibition,
kind of,
yeah, it
like
was
a
like
street art thing.
street art project.
Mhm.
And then we said, we can ask Aline and Kevin. They're always there at the classes and they're super friendly and they have know-how. And then we said, why not, you know? And then we just did it again.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, I don't know, it's just perfect because
Yeah.
we are complemented each other in our abilities.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And that's like I feel so too. That's like the main point of Drink and Draw, and like the magic basically that's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
happening on this boat or wherever
Yeah.
we are.
And if you're in a different country or in a different state, do the same thing again. Like just meet up with friends, and it doesn't have to be like a huge class or something, or like get some costumes together, maybe get some drinks, and then post for each other, make a little event out of it,
Yeah.
and then just start to grow it with even if it's just for fun. I mean, we started like that too, and it's more about that getting other artists together and do the thing you love, and it's art.
For sure.
And
Yeah, I really love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so actually that's the last minute that is coming now,
Oh, damn.
especially for you, Novel, and for our watchers to know.
yeah.
But yeah, I feel so too. That's like the main vibe. And that's actually kind of what we are trying to do in this
Yeah.
stream as well, to like give you watchers kind of like a sneak peek in what it is or what it would be like to be at our sessions, because
Yeah.
it's usually like super casual.
Yeah.
We have a model, either like completely naked, like a life drawing model, or like with cool costumes, and yeah, people just are around drawing, doing their thing, but also like socializing afterwards and getting to know each
Yeah.
other if the time is right, basically.
Yes. If you're in Berlin, come visit us.
Yeah, if you're in Berlin.
Yeah, we could become best friends too.
Jesus.
I mean, come on, man.
I mean, yeah. Pretty sure.
Craving for human connection.
Let's do it. All right. I
Alright.
think that is it for this post. Thank you so much, Tukis. And thank you, Baya, for talking to me.
Thanks for inviting me again,
Yeah.
Aline.
Anytime, honey. Cool. Okay, I think we're recording on all channels. So yeah, Annabelle is now with me on the talking spot, and Peter is drawing right now. So yeah, for our Fatsuki right now modeling, I think, I mean, we talked about it before, but something like witchy would be nice as a theme.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, I mean witchy, that's the topic for this post, and it's gonna be 15 minutes long as all the other ones. Cool. So yeah, Annabelle is like a lovely member of our Drink and Draw community, and I've known you for like 1.5 years now, I think.
Yes.
And you just finished with your bachelor, I think, like a
Yeah,
month
right.
ago. So
Yeah, I finished my Bachelor of Arts in August, and since then I'm working on my portfolio and trying to find some new inspirations, what I can do, like
nice.
getting into also different arts like singing, making music,
Ooh.
and yeah, last week I did my first tattoo with Julian, for example.
Awesome.
Like I try to pick as much stuff as I can, like, because I'm interested in so many things, and I guess it's important to always try new things
Nice.
out. And
That's good. Basically, like spreading your wings into all kinds
yeah,
of different
so-
directions.
because you
for
never
now.
know what's coming.
That's for sure. And I mean, like you said, you're really interested in all kinds of things. So maybe you just need to find out like what is in your very near future kind of the most epic thing for you to do, basically, right?
Oh my god, I was thinking about that today actually, because I thought when I went to study, I thought, okay, I will do 3D animation. I will totally be an animator, and then I went there and I opened my eye and I was like, no,
No, that's not for me.
this is nothing I want to do for long term. And so I was going into illustration again, like into visual, because we had this course with one of my mentors called visual development, and I was like, oh my god, this is a real thing. You can like work in that business, like for example animation or game in the games industry. And yeah, so since I'm working on my portfolio and applying for jobs and course we have the situation with Corona at the moment. It's really hard to find a job. I'm thinking about, okay, hey, what can I do if that's not gonna happen? And at the moment I'm not sure if I want to do illustration or concept art anymore.
Oh, okay.
It's so crazy because I thought, like, how can I make it easier for me? How can I be as efficient as I could?
Maybe. Also vielschichtig.
Yeah, for like, if I'm taking 60 hours for an illustration, that's a lot. That's insane. And then, like, I did a little illustration or a tattoo design for the tattoo I did, and it took me like 1 hour, and people loved it. And I was like, God damn it! How did I spend like 60 hours on other stuff? And then so I will go more into that and like look, what do people want? What makes me happy? And to not lose my intention.
Yeah. So basically, what you said is to find like the point where what you like doing meets what people like about you, basically, or like your fan base. I mean, you are really active on social media, I think, and so that kind of really plays into it, I think, in what you want to do. So, but really finding that sweet spot, basically, between what you really like doing and what kind of your audience or like the people that follow you kind of enjoy seeing.
That's right. I was always thinking, we had that discussion several times, because I was like, okay, I need a job. Maybe I need to job in a bar or like do something else. Not at the moment, but I was like, no, I want to draw. I want to draw. I want to draw. I want to draw. And that's all. Like, that's so in my head. And if you get stuck somewhere, I don't know.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
Put on yourself, basically.
Yeah. I think that's a problem that a lot of artists can identify with.
For sure, yeah.
Like these anxiety moments where you think, oh my god, I'm not good enough. There's so many other artists outside, and can I make it? Blah 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 blah. Yada yada yada. But I don't know.
But yeah, I think in the end, like, you have your own voice and you have your own perspective, so you just need to find the best way to express that, literally.
That's right, yeah.
And you need to kind of work on your skills for that, but also like work on your personality or like on your vision, basically, so you really know what is it that I want to put out into the world. Like Kika said, kind of like the purpose behind why you like to draw. And then there's another sweet spot where that kind of meets, where your skill set kind of meets the purpose that you want to integrate. Yeah. And that's, I think, like a really awesome moment where you're like, it's damn, beautiful, okay. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is. That's right.
Cool.
I think it's important to always be yourself and to not lose yourself during this process, because as I said, I saw, okay, people like what I did, so maybe I should go more into this. If this would have been something I really didn't like, I would never ever go into that.
For sure.
Because I don't know, I think you're losing yourself.
Yeah, you're losing yourself. And it's so easy with social media to do that, because you're like easily swayed by other people's opinions.
That's right.
We have 10 minutes, by the way, for you, Peter, and for our watchers. All right. Awesome. Yeah, I had like a question that I thought about this morning when I kind of thought about what I could ask like during this session. So since you're just done studying at university, like I'm sure there are like things about illustration and drawing and art that you learned at university, but there are also a lot of things that they don't teach you really. Like, could you say like maybe some things that you learned there, but also things that you had to like figure out for yourself that they never really taught you?
So yeah, like I studied media design, which is completely different than like I wanted to study illustration. Like that was something I figured out during the studies, but I said, okay, I want to finish that, yada yada yada. And so we had this visual development, and there they showed us how important it is to have different perspectives, and like to not start with one thing and like, okay, I will draw this right now, but like maybe observe the ball from different perspectives. Like, okay, I will do like 30 thumbnails right now, and I know it's hard, and I know everyone's sitting there like 30.
That's a lot.
But yeah, that's a lot. But I went through this when I did my bachelor, for example, and if I wouldn't have done those 30 sketches for all my illustrations, it wouldn't have been that good. Yeah. And that was something I had to
pressure myself, and I what I had to learn was also that the part of sketching is fun, because I was always like, okay, I will do a 5-minute sketch and then render it out, and then it looked like it was a 5-minute sketch.
Yeah, just render.
Doesn't matter if you're rendering for like 30 hours, it'll look like a 5-minute sketch because the base is not good, and that was something I learned this year. Yeah.
Ooh, that's so cool. Yeah, that's actually really good advice. I think it's really crucial that like I figured that out. Like I had another. I feel like as artists you have like these small little like epiphanies, like all the time, where like realizing things that you actually knew before but you forgot, and then you realize it again, basically.
Oh my god, yeah.
So I had this thing where I had this picture, and it was like a really lame composition, and I was like trying to fix it all the time. I was like fixing it, and it just didn't get any better. And then at the end, like the conclusion was just like, okay, if the composition is boring, the thing is gonna be boring. Like you can render it, and it's gonna be okay-ish, but still you can't fix these early basic things.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right. Also, I guess like one other thing, if I can add, is that that you have to draw things again. Because when I was going into art and like at my beginning steps, I was like, okay, I will draw this right now, and then I was at the end and someone said, something's wrong with the left eye, and I was like, no, I will totally leave that like that, because I can't do this anymore again. Like, we're not beginners anymore, and like also if you're a beginner, start again, because you will progress, and like if you draw 100 heads, the last head is the best head, of course. And I don't know, so also for my bachelor I was drawing it again and again and again, because during this process I was processing or going through a progress which was so big that my illustrations looked like they were like months or maybe years apart from each other, and I was like, wow, maybe I just need to draw it again. And then I drew it again. It was hard for me.
It's frustrating.
It was frustrating, but when I saw the thing in the end, I was like, wow, if I wouldn't have drawn this again, it would have looked much worse.
Yeah, for sure. That's actually another question that I had for you, but you basically just answered it. Because, like I said, I've known you for 1.5 years now, and you've improved like so much during that time. And I was just, like, props, really. Like,
thanks.
I know you do a lot of work, and it really shows. And I just wanted to ask you, basically, also as an advice for maybe viewers watching that are like struggling with getting better. Like, what is your main advice to like really progress in your art?
I guess this is something I'm still practicing on, and this is, please don't pressure yourself so much, and please love yourself. This is so important. Like, I was sitting there when we were recording. It was my first recording. I was like pressuring me so hard, and then in the end I was like, okay, well, it's going in another direction than I wanted it to be, but at least I can make it fun. Like, make fun out of it, and failure belongs to progress. It's so important to fail. Like, if you don't fail, you can't progress. And that's something I've learned, and I need to remind myself all the time, hey, sometimes I'm standing here and we have a live class, and I'm drawing, and I'm just trying, and I'm just not into it, and I'm like, today I can't draw. But if I tell myself, oh my god, that's so bad, it'll be bad. But if you say, okay, so that's an advice Helen gave me one time. She said, okay, get you a stupid pencil you would never ever draw with, and like try to make something cool out of that. And I think like pushing yourself or going into out of your comfort zone is so important.
Right, but do it like you said, in like a loving and forgiving way, basically.
Totally,
like not starting with a completely different medium and like expecting to do the most epic thing ever. Probably not gonna happen. But if you just approach it with like a kind of like a twinkle in the eye, a little bit like, okay, this is probably gonna be a little bit shitty, but then again, doesn't really matter right now. I mean,
and also do it again. As I said, last year when I went to my first internship, I had to draw hats, and my chef said, like my boss said, okay, today we draw hats. You draw half-an-hour hats, and I was like, oh my god, like every day half-an-hour hats, then an hour hats, and then he said like draw it again, and just 5 minutes per head, and I was like, no, but I want to render, and this is something I would not do anymore.
Awesome.
Yeah,
just repeat the things, like don't get tired. If you really want to do it, then
you will improve. That's
Yeah.
coming by itself. So and it's so worth it to work. It's so worth it to sit there, but also to chill. If I have an art crisis, or if I don't feel like drawing, I'm not drawing. As I said, like I'm doing music, I'm watching something cool on, I don't know, streaming sites, and just chill.
like get inspiration, kind of unwind in a bit, but also like give yourself the space to come up
That's
with new
right,
things
yeah.
and like gather your power, basically.
Or like watch other artists, because that gives me most of my inspiration. Like just seeing something like, oh my god, I want to do something like that, but in my way. And then like, I don't know, it's working like this, I guess.
Yeah. So there's another. I think we have like about 4 minutes, something like that left.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, cool, awesome. So last question I think I have for you is, as far as I know, you've grown up like in a little village, and you were kind of the only one, like at least in your family, that was doing like creative work. How is that different? Like, what's the main difference between being like creative alone, basically, and being in an environment like here, where like basically all your friends are doing kind of what you're doing, or like?
It's like kind of crazy, because I was when I was younger, I was the one. Everyone came to me when you wanted something to draw, so I was like, okay, I think I can draw. I can do this for you, but I was always a bit like there was something missing. I never felt comfortable there. Like I always wanted to go to Berlin and like, because I thought the people there were not as creative as I was, and I wanted to work on projects together. So I went here, and when I got to know you all, I just saw what I missed. Like the people can give you so much input, and I think I wouldn't have progressed so much if I wouldn't have been in Berlin in this time. Yeah, like around artists and around people who push me to my limits, and or like who can help me, and also. Yeah, it's a good advice to go into a community to find people who are doing the same what you're doing, and then you can ask for advices, get help, help people out, and yeah. So the difference was, when I look back, I felt a bit alone, and now I feel much more supported.
Cool. Yeah, I feel the same way, because I think most of us have like this experience when they're like in school or whatever, they're kind of like the best.
Yeah.
A drawing in their class, or like they're like maybe like 2 or 3 people that are okay, and then you're like in this group, but then you're done with school, and then you realize like, oh my god, there are like so many good people in the world. It's crazy. Like I'm not even like touching anything, like any horizon or whatever.
That's also a thing. Like if you're going through this community, there will always be people who are better, and that's okay, because everyone is good at this point.
I mean, there's the saying like, if you're the best in the room, it's time to find another room. So like, surround yourself with people that you get motivated by, and they inspire you and stuff. Oh, cool. Well, I think that's it for this post. Thank you so much for talking, Annabelle, and thank you so much for modeling, Suki. Awesome. Okay, yeah, so we are back. We're here with Peter, and Henrik is drawing right now, and we have the honor to decide a prompt that Henrik can include in his drawing. So what do you think, looking at Suki in this outfit?
So I'm doing a little bit of a time traveling.
Okay.
Back to when I was a child, and I grew up with animes, most of us, and I would say let's do a Dragon Ball theme.
Okay. Henrik, are you comfortable with that?
That's the guy with the spiky hair.
That's
exactly.
right, yeah. That's all you need to know, maybe. Okay, yeah, let's go with Dragon Ball. And as usual, we have 15 minutes for this post if you guys want to draw along at home. Cool. Yeah, so Peter, we actually never have spoken that intensely before, so I'm really curious to do that right now. So all my questions are really heartfelt, because I literally do not know a lot about you.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
Next time.
I mean, next time I will know for sure. So maybe kind of just tell me 1 or 2 sentences. What do you do? What do you love? What's your deal, basically?
Okay, good. Where should I start? I just do quickly a summarize of where I'm from, basically.
Yeah, sure.
So, when I was 4 years old, my parents actually want me to study fashion design.
Ooh, that's cool.
And none of them have basically actually anything to do with art.
Okay.
So my father was a police officer, and my mother has a cosmetic store.
Okay.
But in the 19s, they watched like a telenovela from America about fashion design, and then
they were like-
they saw like, oh, Peter, you draw, and
Yep.
so you become a fashion designer. And I was 4 years old, and I was like, okay.
I'll do that.
I do that. But I was really into drawing Disney, things like that, and anime stuff.
Cool.
And then after I did my degree in high school, I went to Berlin, and then I had like interviews in school and universities. And every time I came out of those fashion design universities, I was staring at my boyfriend. I was like, no, thanks. This is not my thing. And then by accident, I popped into a university where a friend of us studied as well. And then I started studying communication design.
Okay.
And I had a little sneak peek into illustration, game design as well. And then I realized what I wanted to do. And I made my degree in 2012 already. From that point, I started to kind of educate myself a little bit to get more deeper into material. But it didn't really work out. I did some freelance stuff. I did a lot of social media stuff as well. And then I decided last year to go back to school and to get the rest of the skills
Cool.
to be ready for the, how do you say?
The industry?
Industry,
The
thank
art-
you.
yeah, the
for
art industry.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are you currently studying then?
I'm studying game design at School for Games. So
okay.
it's not game design, it's game graphics.
Game art, basically.
Game art, yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
So, like, are you more into like the illustration part of it or the concept art? Because just for okay, awesome. For the viewers, so illustration is more like the finished pieces that you see literally, like on the movie posters or on the game DVDs or like in-game maybe even. And the concept art is kind of the design process that you never really get to see, but that happens before the cool illustrations get done,
Yeah.
basically. So it's literally the doing 20, 30, 500 versions of one thing all over and over and over until
Exactly.
someone decides that something is really awesome
Yeah.
and you go with that, basically.
And that's a good thing, it never gets boring. Because I like illustrations too, I do it for myself and for my patron. But you have more flexibility when it comes to concept art. And I'm one of those people who are constantly thinking when I'm talking to people. And I'm always carrying a sketchbook just to hold everything on.
Okay.
Which is really important. It was not a good thing in school, of course, because teachers told me, Peter,
Stop drawing.
pay attention.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, sorry. And I just scribbled down everything. So now it's a really positive thing for me.
Now it's literally your job and
It's my job,
you
yeah.
do it for fun and for jobs,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
Did that change anything now that you're like pursuing it as a career? Are you still enjoying it as much as before? Or like did the pressure of having to do it every day for work kind of take away from the fun experience of drawing?
No, it doesn't. I was really scared that this is going to happen. But I'm really in peace with it. I'm also flexible of what I'm able to do. And so the last 5 years, I didn't work full-time as an artist because I kind of slipped into interior design, visual merchandising for a British company. So I was traveling and doing store designs as well, which was really nice. It was a super nice experience.
Sounds good.
But I realized, no, Peter, stay true to yourself and go back to your roots. And having the feeling doing art every day 100% gives me a lot of peace. Even though I'm going to school, even though I do work now also for a company as well, part-time, where I can do practice already, and I do gain every day so much knowledge in school and at work, which is really crazy. So I'm really, really happy right now.
Yeah,
it's a good
like
feeling. Yeah.
You're like speed running through all the learning experiences right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So working in a real company right now, is it like what you imagined what it would be like, or is it super different and you're like, damn, I would have never guessed that this is what I would actually be doing?
It is how I expected it would be, but I didn't expect it before I started working there, because I was more insecure about myself, what my skills are, is it enough. So this is the problem when you're an artist. You're always doubting yourself. Are you good enough? Are you good enough? No, I'm not. And you compare yourself. But I feel really safe there, and also the project, because I feel like they kind of appear really well to me, to my style, and so on. And I can say that I can be myself, which maybe is not the normal case in the industry, because you have to do all the styles as well. So, but now it feels really, comfortable.
Cool. Yeah, it's so cool that you're like, because it's like the main thing that I heard from a lot of concept artists, that it's a bit tough sometimes to kind of put your own style back and adjust to whatever the customer needs or the studio needs or the project wants from you, basically. But I mean, that's awesome that it's like super kind of fitting to what you actually are interested in and want
and to
be
do. Honest, I'm not really scared if I have to do other styles, because it's just a learning experience. Why not? And why should I just put myself in borders? And if I want to do my own style, I can do projects by myself beside as well every weekend, for example. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean,
it sounds super perfect. It wasn't that perfect the last 5 years, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I'm really happy that it kind of just made it that way finally. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's just like the road is winding and you don't really know where it leads, and you're like, oh no, freaking out a little bit. Like, is this actually is this gonna be my life, basically? But then something happens and you kind of strive towards your goal, but you're like a little bit sidetracked. But in the end, if you like really want something, kind of tends to happen if you work for that as well.
That's true. Well, especially in a German society where we have like laws and orders and restrictions and things you have to have, like insurance and things like that. A job who offers you insurance and things like that, and then you have parents behind your back who is pointing on it like, do it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make it easy. But God bless, we do have like this.
Like
thing in Germany.
Yeah, the structure and everything.
Yeah.
So would you say, are your parents kind of supporting you in the art track? I mean, they wanted to become a fashion designer, so I bet they were like open-minded towards the other artistic stuff.
Yeah.
But were they like worried when you decided to do the art thing and pursue that? Because like the stigma is basically like, you all know that artists don't earn money, or there's not a lot of money involved in the industry. You just do it for like the children's laughter, basically.
Yeah.
But you do have to make a living out of it at some point if you want to pursue it professionally. So were your parents like scared, or?
No, never. They always supported me on art, even though they didn't had a clue about anything. But the big controversy is that on the other hand, they always came over with like those German things like you have to do, and which kind of freaked me out.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes, but on the other hand, they always want to support me. So it was collating sometimes.
Yeah.
But they still support. Everybody's supporting me, and
that's lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really awesome.
Well, I have to work, of course, just to pay the bills and to show them the receipts, what I'm doing.
Right.
And then they're super chill.
That's nice. Yeah, same. I think same for me. Like my parents were always like super supportive. As long as like all the official stuff is kind of taken care of, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's super nice. I feel like we're super lucky and privileged in that way, because I feel like a lot of artist journeys, especially like maybe like 1 or 2 generations before us, they really had to like struggle to kind of make clear to their surrounding that this is what they actually want to pursue and do. So
yeah, and it's also so my parents never knew what kind of options we have in the industry. That was there was a struggle. They never could tell me, Peter, you can do this, you can study this,
Right.
or you can move there to study this. This is kind of there was always a kind of a procedure of a self-education. You have to listen to hear what are the options, what can you do. So this was a kind of a pity compared to, for example, America, where like animation industries was always a big thing since Disney came out, for
sure.
example,
Yep.
or Japan with Nintendo and the gaming industry.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big market in Germany. So of course,
There's a lot more explaining that you, as like the kid, need to do to the parents. Like, hey, this is actually a job. There are schools for that. There are like career paths that
Exactly.
one can go down and like earn like a decent living or whatever.
exactly.
Cool. I think we have 4 minutes left for this post, just for you to know, Henrik, and also for Tsiki, and the people drawing along, of course.
No pressure.
No pressure,
Same.
guys. I mean, oh yeah, if you want to actually post something that you drew along, you can totally do that on Instagram and tag us with Drink and Draw Berlin, and we will happily repost your stuff. Yeah, just wanting to let you know. Awesome. Yeah, I mean,
Any other questions?
any other questions?
Do I have something to offer?
No, I can. So, with Kika, I talked about what's your like inspiration that doesn't have to do with art. Do you have something like that? That's something like super random that inspires you, but that's not necessarily like
Okay.
another artist or something?
Well, I already told you that I grew up with Disney,
For
and
sure.
The Little Mermaid is kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
I think it was the first Disney movie I've ever seen. Kind of, I was like blown away. I think it was 3 or 4 years old,
Oh,
and ever
wow.
since I started drawing mermaids everywhere.
Oh, that's cool.
And I kind of established the mermaid thing on Instagram years ago already.
Oh, wow.
But now I'm kind of over the mermaid thing. Because
Okay.
everybody's drawing mermaids.
Yep,
Even though in mermaid I'm like, again, mermaids.
yep.
But I must confess that it helps me to find my style because of the dynamic lines. Also, a big thank you to my how do you say, life drawing teacher at university. She taught me like the most important thing, which had a big impact in my art style, like feeling like the line of action with the whole body.
Okay.
And this is still, I do still have this in my style, which I really appreciate.
Nice.
So yeah, like mermaid thing and the dynamic line, it is a good combination, of course, like flowing hair and tails.
Yep.
And I can always adapt this, and it gives a nice movement and dynamic to an illustration or a character.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever like look into kind of mythological stuff with like mermaids or something like that? Or I mean, I think there are like a bunch of things.
Yes, as well. I do like gods as well.
Oh yeah.
Because, and especially when it comes to new interpretation gods, like,
Sure.
okay, how can they look like in the future or now today as a Berlin hipster?
Yeah.
This is really nice to see, and how would they react. You can play a lot with those characters. Sometimes you have the pressure to come up with a new character, and
Yep.
but if you're lazy and comfy, hey, we have so many characters built up from history
Yeah.
who you can use to give them new definition. That is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I think a lot of artists always say that nature is like the best creator because like everything is just, you know, it's how kind of our perception of beauty is formed because nature is doing it like just naturally, literally.
Exactly.
And so with that, if you have to build a new character, you can always just look at like, I don't know, history pictures or like references or the pictures from your grandma or whatever, and kind of create, like pick something from there and create something new.
Yeah,
out
just
of it.
pick your sketchbook, go outside the door, and start drawing what you see.
Damn.
Yeah, inspiration's waiting everywhere. It sounds cheesy, but this is how
It's
it is.
true,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
yeah.
true. It's true.
It's cheesy, but it's true. And it's also good advice for newcomers to just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
get into the habit of doing it and
It is.
yeah, not overthinking maybe.
Yeah.
That thing.
Damn, now I have another story I want to tell, but we don't have any time
Yeah,
anymore.
it's actually
Next time.
like 30 seconds, I think, for this post. But yeah, I think that won't be the last time. I mean, you've been here at Drink and Draw sometimes, so
Yeah. I live really close by, so I'm happy to come.
I'm jealous. I live really far away.
Oh.
That's fine. But yeah, I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
talking
me too.
with you again.
Me too. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Peter,
Yay.
for coming here today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
You. Thank you for drawing.
Yeah, alright, it's recording. Perfect, you can start.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much, Henrik, for drawing the last pose. Tsuki's gonna pose in the same outfit, but a little bit different this time. So we already kind of briefly talked about a Terminator-related prompt that we could give to Lucas. Do you have any more specific suggestions? Because I think you're quite versed in the Terminator thing.
Yes, I am. And Terminator 2 is one of the best movies ever produced. And I really like the T-1000. That's all I'm saying.
The T-1000. Shit.
Is it the one that's hunting him in the car?
Yes, that's him.
Okay, so yeah, I guess
Still don't know how he looks, but
that's fine. I think we're just gonna go with like a Terminator vibe.
alright.
And if you, like, watching at home can include the T-1000, then please do and show us later. Awesome. Well, yeah, Henrik, you've been a professional artist for like, what, 20 years about or something like that?
Yeah.
Kind of. So, yeah, my main question is, or like, my first question would be, like, what's the difference looking back at like the like 20 years younger Henrik to like the Henrik now doing art? Is it still like the same things that push you to do art, or has that changed over the years?
I think it never changed. What happened is that you forgot about it.
Oh snap.
And what caused it was basically life. And I mean, if you're young and very passionate about to get into art, and I was about 16 when I discovered conceptart.org,
Right.
and a friend of mine showed it to me and like, wow, this is a whole new like portal to a new dimension opened up basically. And I saw these sketchbooks by really talented guys, and it really pushes some buttons when you're young and basically you want to get out there, right? And you want to do what they do, and they featured several artists there on the forum. So at that time it was the go-to place, basically kind of you could say ArtStation, what ArtStation is now. Conceptart.org was back then. So it did a lot to motivate me to draw and paint a lot, which I did. And so difference to now would be to connect back to these roots. And having had the company for now 12 years, there were many things I had to do or get into I never dreamed about to get into, like management tasks. So very artist unfriendly
Right.
places, but you gotta do that to kind of build something up, and now I'm in a position to finally get back to this and actually pick up where I left off.
But even when you were involved with like the more management side of your company, like Character Studios in Berlin, you still did the drawing like in your free time, right?
Yeah, as much as I could, but it kind of kills your drive or energy for it. When you come home after a full day and then you rarely pick up the sketchbook and then, okay, I'm doing art now. What you guys also talked about earlier, that like be creative, like on demand is it's very difficult, and it's more like you make a habit out of a certain style or a certain ability that you can then market and have a job with this, because you know you can deliver with this certain type of product you can sell. So, and I think there comes a time when you're about like 18, 19, 20 and you grow up, you're still adolescent, but you know, okay, how can I make a living of this? Then you just have to decide on certain principles that just kind of
Work
pay the
for you.
bills,
Yeah.
and so your hobby becomes a job, and that's where it really changes. And it's good to then connect with your roots again, or what Greg Mullen said, like in this workshop a long time ago. to actually really schedule sandbox time during the week, so you can be experimental and you can make a lot of mistakes and you can widen your horizon to discover new things. Otherwise you might end up being stuck after years and years, and you don't know what's happening, and just it's not the same anymore as what got you into it.
Yeah.
But it's simply that you're not playful anymore.
For sure. I mean, yeah, what you said, I think is... oh yeah, we have about 10 minutes left just for you guys drawing. So when you're like young and you get into drawing, everything's new and there's like so much to learn, and at a certain point you're like, okay, I need to make this my job, I need to make a living out of it, and then you kind of break it down, like all the creative bunch that used to be like your drawing experience, you like narrow it to fit a certain, I don't know, style or thing that you think is marketable, like you said, and then you kind of have to almost work against being stuck at only like this process that kind of makes sense for you in that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much, but you gotta kind of run into this by yourself, because many people can tell you about this. You should watch out for this and this. And as always, if you don't have the sensation for yourself, you can really feel it for yourself because it's happening to yourself. It's real in your world. Then you're like, yeah, okay, I heard this, but blah, blah, blah. You keep doing your thing.
Yep.
And but then you crash. You may crash at some point, and then that's where you realize, okay, it's not the same anymore, and I gotta change something about it to still be inspired and have fun, like really have fun with it. In the end, that's why we got into it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, that's kind of the thing, like you have to make your own mistakes and people can tell you all kinds of stuff, but in the end you have to be the one that touches the fire at least once to like recognize, it's literally hot.
and don't shy away from it. You know, I think it's definitely good to make mistakes and then learn from it, and it's all about it's not about what happens to you, it's more about what you do with it and to get up again and then keep doing so. This turns more and more into like a life motivation
like
thing,
a pep talk thing. But actually that ties in, like, because the thing that I asked Baya, I'm really interested to hear you talk about it as well, because I know that you're like into philosophy and like thinking a lot about like the things behind the things that we can see. So like where would you see like the position of the artist basically in our current society? Because Baya and I talked about that it's, for Drink and Draw at least, like about the communal aspect of like connecting like-minded people, and like basically with the message that like connections, human interaction and connection is what it all kind of ends up being for. So what is your take on art and the artist in our society?
It's basically, I mean, art itself, personally, I think there's a lot of stuff that's quite overrated in it. That just the term creative is like widely used and basically tossed out whenever felt like. And but what does it mean really? What does art mean? It's visual storytelling to me. And if you're good at this, then you can provide entertainment for others, and especially an escape for other people. Probably, especially during times like this, that people see the world outside there, and then they come home, and then they can go into worlds that artists envision that are ultimately a relief for them, and they can reflect and contrast what's out there and dive into it. So I think there's a lot of responsibility for artists now, possibly more than ever. And like you said, I think it has a lot to do with psychology in the very end.
For sure.
And how we perceive the world and what we can motivate other people with.
So would you say it's more like providing some sort of psychological or mental relief for the watcher or viewer, and also kind of motivating the people that look at your artwork to maybe become creative themselves, or like look at life differently? Or
I think everyone is creative. It's just that the people just never discovered it for themselves, possibly, or they're reluctant to do so because they see what the artist is doing, and it's like kind of a Rubik's cube for them. I don't know how that works, but it fascinates me. But I could never do it. That's kind of the old. So I had this opinion many years ago that okay, there is such a thing as talent, and I hear people saying like, no, I can't do that. Yeah. But now I really challenge everyone that you can do it, and it's just about, like, to me, just repetition of one thing, and so if you draw something 100 times, it will be better.
For sure.
First one. So everyone can be good at it, and there's a distinction between a craft, which is drawing something 100 times, and then being creative and coming up with like conceptual storytelling and all this. But again, that can be learned, and I think everyone has that. It's just maybe some have it like more because the environment they grew up in provided more of that they can develop in that direction, and others they just couldn't. But anyway, we can provide inspiration, motivation for these people to just enjoy it. They don't have to be, they don't have to become an artist. Sure,
That's
they
right,
don't have to, but it's essential that these people are around, and definitely also provide the mirror for societies that exist right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think like the thing with like talent or not talent, I totally agree that you can learn everything. It's not like a God-given thing that just drops onto you and you're like, I can draw everything.
But people like
now.
to view
People
it
like
like
to
this
view it
because
like that,
it's easier because you get out of it like, wow, I could never do this.
Yeah.
And then,
But
so
also,
they never really try.
yeah, that's true. But also I think there's like another side to it, because there are things that one like enjoys more than other things. I mean, for me, to pick like the basic artist example, I don't like math, I'm not good at it, but I'm sure I could do it if I put my head into it and like really learned it and studied it. I could be good at math at some point, but it's just not like a desire that I have, and that's kind of the thing that I look at a mathematician and I'm like, damn, I could never do that, in the sense that I could never maybe put my mind to that for that long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that might be the thing with people saying that you're like, wow, what you do is so special and stuff, that they're just like, I could never maybe just. But yeah, most people, or like some people, don't realize it, that it actually takes a lot of practice to become where you are.
Well, since you mentioned mathematics, is art anything else than mathematics?
Is
like
it?
art has like kind of a special place compared to all the other occupations you can have, or philosophy, same corner. Most artists are also very much into philosophy, but is it more worth than the guy that does for 30 years like take out collects the garbage, and that's what he did all his life, and it's good that he does that because otherwise he would drown in garbage.
Right.
So it's great that these people are around.
For sure.
And part of it, and without them we wouldn't be able to have a position in society.
Yep.
So is art above that or below? I don't know if that even needs to be determined, but I often think about that.
I think I mean, I would not pass a judgment on that either, if it's below or above anything, but I think that art has like a certain like speciality about it, because literally everyone can do it at every moment, but you can still work on it for like an infinite amount of time and never reach like the end goal, basically. I don't know if there's like an end goal in math, but I feel like at a certain point you kind of know all the formulas that are known right now.
Yes,
but
that's
with
it.
Art, it's
right
like
now.
So infinite.
I mean, so is the universe.
For sure. Oh wow. Okay. Are we going there?
So I think we like to think that it's kind of compromised or like figured out, and where do we go in the future? But then again, 100 years from now, it's like you can't imagine what how this will unfold.
For
Like,
sure. Yeah, I mean that got really deep, but I really enjoyed it.
Yes, 50 minutes is not enough for.
It's not
today.
enough, no. But we will philosophize like a lot more. I feel
I
like.
would love to.
So yeah, cool. Well, that's actually it for this post. Sorry, I didn't give you another warning, but I'm sure you did great. Thank you so much, Henrik, for talking to me.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, actually for the last two poses we have a model switch. So Baya, who has been already drawing and already in the interview seat, will also be modeling today. So he's like the most...
We said jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, that's right. Yeah, and he's rocking this traditional Mongolian priest outfit. That's right. So Hannah is actually going to draw for us this time. The post will be 15 minutes. And what prompt? I mean, we already kind of briefly talked about prompt, and Hannah was kind of liking a space idea.
Yeah, I was thinking space monkeys for some strange reason. Don't ask why.
Okay, yeah, space monk. That's
space
cute.
monk. Yeah, that's
Space
much
monk,
better
right?
actually. Yeah,
Sounds like a Star Wars thing or something.
Totally.
So let's make it happen. Awesome. Okay, yeah. So Lucas, you're here with me now.
Yeah.
Thank you for drawing.
Pleasure.
I really like your drawing. Like, damn,
Thanks,
that was
thanks.
hella sexy. Like a Terminator.
Yeah, that was
I've
a
never
good
seen
model
before.
actually.
I mean,
think so yeah.
True that. But yeah.
That just came out, you know.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know that much about you, but I know that you've been just accepted to like the HTV.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to follow Julian and Baya's legacy of being in game design.
Yeah, so he's gonna study game design in Berlin now. Starting when actually?
I already started 2 weeks ago, and
how's it going so
yeah,
far?
it's going really good. But the thing is, Corona kind of interrupts it a bit because we had a case, and so everything shuts down a bit. But I hope it will just take back, like we just keep on rolling with it, you know, and are actually present, you know, because I would really love to be around people that have the same kind of, just like here actually, right? Like I'm here because there's people like you, like Kevin Baya, all these great people that are so into art and so much into what they're doing, that I just love being around you guys. Because, totally, yeah. No, I'm not trying. But you know, I think that's super important actually, to have people around you that are like-minded and that strive to get better, and that's why I like to be here. But it's also very chill, you know? Like you never have the feeling of competition. Like it's a good, healthy competition, you know, and you show your images, and you get to learn something new every time, you know, with Lars tutor, totally valuable, I think, his lessons. I'm really happy for Sunday, actually.
Ooh, are you gonna come to Joan's workshop?
I had to come.
Awesome.
I saw these pictures and I just said,
hell yeah.
Mind-blowing, it's totally crazy. Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, I think that's really a cool thing about Drink and Draw, that, like you said, there's no like competition, like elbowing around or something, but if you're interested in learning a new technique, you can always ask and approach the people and be like, hey, like, how did you do that? What's the secret?
Yeah, that's what I like. You know, like everyone's super open and you can just go ahead and ask, and that's totally awesome. I really like that, because I think it was mentioned already before, like as an artist it's kind of tough to go from like the total bottom where you start to look up at all these people that are super good, and I feel like particularly now where I am right now, like this middle spot, you know, like I'm not super bad, but I'm not really good, you know. So it's kind of tough, you know. Like I feel I don't know really how to express it, but
I mean, I feel you. I think I feel you, because for me it always feels like when you have reached a certain level, there are just so many possibilities you could go with the skills that you already have.
But you also don't want to go back, you know. Like there's not like okay, I'm trying acting now, or I'm trying something completely different because you already invested so much time into it that you don't want to.
But then again, that could be actually like sometimes, like Annabelle said, for example, a good thing to maybe get your mind off the pressure part of it and like just enjoy something completely different. And I know that that is one of Kevin's values actually, that when he gets too pressured with only art and only drawing and stuff, he consciously seeks out other things, like completely new things, and then he like builds bridges basically between the new things and the art thing.
Yeah, that makes
So,
total
like,
sense. Because you get burned out too quickly when you only focus on art. And I really like what you just said, like the beauty and cross, like these bridges that you build. I really like that, and like also in the moment you're not directly thinking about art, you know. Like when I cook, because I love cooking right now, it's just awesome to. It's also a way to express yourself, to experiment, and it kind of lets me be in the moment. Like I just want to do this sauce and I want to do this type of food right now, and I'm really into it, you know, for 1 or 2 hours or something. Sometimes multiple days of preparation, because it's just I love committing to it, you know. And, but there's not such a huge failure, you know. That's how I personally feel about art. It's like it hits me quite hard still when I fail at something, you know. Like I've always been bad at accepting failures. I think so. And that also kind of got me into a crisis for a year or so where I wasn't drawing at all.
You were just like, I'm
think
done,
that
over this.
Yeah, and it just happens, you know. And I think it was addressed here already. Like sometimes you just struggle with yourself, you know. It's totally normal. But yeah, I like that here in this round there were a lot of ways that were proposed to deal with it, cope with it.
For sure,
very nice.
I mean, there's no like kind of right path to go down to. You have to figure it out for yourself, and like we talked about before, you have to make your own mistakes and like run into your own walls and like get it like, okay, people told me about this, but now I'm experiencing it myself.
I just keep hitting the wall. You know?
It's actually happening, but it's still, I feel like at least for me, it helps to know that you're not the only one, because sometimes I feel like, especially like in your teenage years, at least I was that way. I always felt super dramatic. Like I was like, oh my god, I'm so misunderstood, and I'm like the only one
but
going
I think that's
through
a
this
normal
pain.
That's a normal teen thing, right?
That's a normal
like,
teen thing for sure.
Yeah, you
but
just tend to over dramatize stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's like such a good feeling to know that I'm not the only one actually having these problems, and to like, I don't know, read books and the characters are like struggling with the same thing, and you're like, yes, thank you, I needed that. I needed to have that reassurance right now. So we have 9 minutes left, guys and girls. Yeah, just saying that. Cool. So another thing I'm interested in, kind of on the same tangent, like, how is it for you, like, dealing with critique and stuff? Because that's like can be like a sensitive thing for artists, right?
I agree, because you have a very personal attachment to your art, I think. But I have to say, I visited School for Games, which is like a school that teaches game design and game art. They do that, like they teach you the what's it called, like art and game design, but they also try to approach you on a mental or like social kind of level, like, and they teach you how to behave, like, how to prepare like they change your mindset a bit, you know. And that was something very invaluable to me, because before I was a total dipshit, like I am still, but less so. And but I was this asshole that never could take critique, that was always hitting on people, like a total rude, stupid guy, you know. Like I don't know what went into me, but like I really think that was a turning point for me in that regard, you know.
So what did they say? Were they like, okay guys, listen, if you want to be in the industry,
a bit like that,
you will have to scrap a lot of your ideas and get rid of all the like things you thought of, and just like put them into the trash and accept that this thing. And you were like, Oh,
yeah,
snap.
but and slowly it comes to your consciousness. They are actually right. Like this is beneficial, and I think it's not only beneficial in your job, but in your everyday life.
For
you know,
sure.
like just being able to talk with people on a removed like kind of level, so
Yeah.
you're not always super emotional. Like
Yeah.
it's totally beneficial to be emotional, but sometimes you just need this kind of more.
Yeah, and not like take it so personally.
Yeah.
Like, let it
Especially for
all
feedback,
in.
like you just mentioned, it's damaging if you are
For sure, yeah.
too attached to it personally.
I mean, I have that as well. Like,
Yeah.
still today, that I'm sometimes just really like.
But is
heartbroken
it
over-
yourself? Because I feel like a lot of it is also we are hitting on ourselves a lot. Like
That's true.
surely it is
Yeah.
emphasized by other people, but how often does it happen? You know,
Yeah.
that people are really shitting on your stuff. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's mostly like someone says something and then you're like snowballing into
Yeah,
other things.
yeah,
you're just
yeah,
like, oh my
yeah,
god, that
yeah.
means I'm not
I
good
tot-
enough.
yeah.
That means I'm shit. That means I can't do good decisions or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's really like your deal to solve and like get out of and be like, okay, snap out of it. Actually, it's fine and it's gonna be
Yeah.
fine. And
But that takes time, you know.
Sure,
It's
yeah.
totally fine. But yeah, that was something that I was approached there, and I think that was super helpful. You know, like it grew me as a person.
Yeah.
You know? And like I think on the professional side, it was just me slacking. You know, like I didn't take it super serious at that time because I was
okay.
still like 18 years old and just came out of Abitur.
yeah, like A levels.
Yeah, A levels. Thank you. And so I was still like into drinking, smoking, and yeah.
Yeah, we just like
yeah.
vibing.
Yeah, totally. And I think now I'm a bit more grown up, and so
Okay.
I think I can take this more seriously
Yeah.
and move on
Okay.
to the next level.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, before today, I actually only saw you personally like sketch traditionally. I mean, I did stalk your Instagram before, and I see you do like.
I did too.
Stop.
Yeah.
I saw you do like a lot of digital studies. So I wanted to ask you, like, what do you feel is like? First question is, what are you more comfortable with, traditional sketching or digital
Good
work?
question, actually.
And then like, I don't know, what do you think is the connection? Like, can you connect the two, like the skill sets, or what's the difference for you?
So I started traditional, I think like most of us that are in this kind of age. And then with 14 I started doing digital. And then I did only digital. But then I came here, and that was when I kind of had a revelation that traditional art is, I don't know, it just feels very good to me, like for me personally, and I think it also has huge impacts on your traditional work because you just approach stuff differently than you would in digital. So I think it's valuable to have both and kind of create a symbiosis. Or
Right.
yeah,
Like a symbiotic relationship.
yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I was going to say. Because I think it really benefits you to have this traditional aspect. I haven't quite figured out yet why exactly, like why I think so, but I kind of feel it in my guts. You know?
Okay.
Like, I still would like to figure out why exactly is it so beneficial.
Yeah.
But I think Lars can tell a lot more about that. Probably,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's like the thing with like sketching from reference, sketching from life,
Yeah.
like kind of translating the 3D world into the 2D
Totally.
instead of just 2D to 2D again and stuff
Yeah,
like that. Maybe
yeah,
something,
totally.
something along the lines.
But
of
I also
that.
have to say, with this new technology kind of coming up, I really had to get myself into 3D as well, and I really start enjoying it right now because it gives you a lot of creative freedom. You know, like
Nice.
if you've ever tried out Blender or stuff, like
Yeah.
you can quickly get into it, and
Yeah.
it gives you a whole bunch of opportunities to explore
Yeah.
stuff. And I think that's kind of what I'm always looking for. Is like, how can I express myself in different mediums as
Right.
well. Like I used to love to do graffiti. That was a huge thing for me, and like even painting and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. There's probably tons of more opportunities and mediums that you can get into. But I think each medium itself has a very valuable aspect that you don't get in other mediums.
For sure, yeah.
So really love trying out new stuff. Even though it's, you said, I think someone said it with the pencil and the, like you don't try painting when you feel bad. Yeah. At first you're gonna suck. That's what I'm basically trying to say. When you try something new, so don't be disappointed if it doesn't work out straight away. Yeah.
You have to give yourself the time to like adjust to the new thing.
Totally.
But it's also like, that's the cool thing about trying something entirely new, that the learning curve is so much steeper again.
Yeah.
Because you
It's very rewarding.
Yeah, you get better so
yeah.
quickly, and especially if you have like background in other, I don't know, for example, design things.
Yeah.
You still can
it's
apply
gonna
your design
flow
concepts
into it,
to
you know?
the new
Yeah.
medium.
Totally. And I think that's also why right now I'm really trying to learn these design core principles, you know, like composition, like design ideas, rules and shit that kind of help you because they go across every medium, you know. That's why I think they are so beneficial, and they can be applied to a lot of things,
For
like
sure.
characters, vehicles, everything, abstract art. So I think these, if you kind of learn these not rules but guidelines,
But like the basic
like these
of,
really, like if you condense it down to the most basic essence, like I think then that can be applied to everything else you do, and it's universally valuable to you.
Yeah, like composition, for example.
Yeah,
You can use
that's a very
composition
core
in
thing.
Photography and films and like art.
And you can also learn it in all these different mediums as long as you learn it, basically. I think.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Well,
And
yeah.
So that's what I'm up to now.
That's awesome. I really wish you the best of success and luck with your studies. I hope it's just going to be awesome. And I hope to see you a lot here and talk to you further.
Yeah, totally.
Because the time is already up again. Thank you so much
that was
for
awesome.
coming.
It's probably the first time we were actually talking, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
cool.
it was nice.
Thank you. I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Baya, as well.
Thank you, Baya, for modeling.
And thank you, Hannah. Okay, cool. So we are here for the last post actually for tonight. So yeah, if you want to still draw along, that's your last chance. Baya is gonna model for us again in his awesome monk outfit. And Lars, the first one who talked to me on the couch, is actually gonna draw. So now you can watch the magic of Anatomy Lars doing his drawing. No, but he's actually good, but no pressure, so I don't know. Anyways, it's fine. So yeah, Hannah, thank you so much for drawing. How did you like it? I mean, you usually, I feel like, I mean, you've been part of the OG Drink and Draw crew, of course, been here since the beginning, but I feel like you enjoy being a little bit more on the like pulling the strings and not being like on the stage kind of side.
Yeah,
right?
Totally. I'm more an introvert person,
Yeah.
I can say. And I don't enjoy standing on the stage. Everyone's looking at me. That's not my thing. I like to I don't know, organize things or like keep in the background and just look that everything works out and just work here and there and nobody sees me. That's actually my thing.
Yeah, but why is that? Like, is it just do you enjoy the end result more than just being on the stage? Because I feel like you're really good once you just do the drawing in the open. You rock, you know. You're super cool and solid. So
yeah, maybe it's because I don't like the pressure. I'm always kind of afraid of everything that could happen.
Okay.
So I'm more like, okay, I'm just not doing this. I'm just being in the background and do the things I'm sure I can do.
Sure, yeah.
But I mean, sometimes it's good to push yourself. And you asked me to be here with you on the couch today, and I said, okay, let's do this.
I was wondering when I typed the message to you. I was like, I'm wondering what she's actually going to say, because I totally thought you might just say I don't know. So I was like, oh, cool, she's gonna do it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to like force yourself to do things you don't want to do to, learn and get better.
Cool. Well,
So-
I'm really happy that you're like talking to me here.
Yeah, I took this opportunity and I'm feeling fine. So it's
Fine.
good.
Really? No, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's no big deal, but
Yeah.
it's just not my thing. But maybe it will be
Maybe
sometime.
it will be sometime, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, you really are kind of like Baya, a jack of all trades. You are really good at all kinds of things that you do. So you do like the illustration stuff that you guys kind of saw before, like kind of small scale illustrative portrait work and stuff like that. But you also do like really big murals, like literal entire rooms and walls full of painting stuff.
Yeah.
And then like all the organization for the drink and draw as well. So I don't know, how do you feel about doing all this kind of different stuff and not kind of pinpointing yourself to one special thing?
I like to do different stuff because at one point if I only, well, I know that I'm good at portraits and I draw portraits, and then at some point I'm kind of bored about it because it's kind of my comfort zone, and I'm drawing them and they look good. Sometimes they don't look good, but I kind of like that. And I think it's sometimes you need to just push yourself, like we said before, to do other stuff. And it was not like that I said, oh, I want to do murals to push myself to another level or to grow. But it's just like sometimes you get an offer for a job and you don't really know how to do it. But I say, yes, I can do it. Even though I don't know how to do it, then I just say yes, and then I have this job, and then I need to learn it.
Okay.
You know?
I get
and
it,
that's
yeah.
how you kind of grow,
Damn.
maybe. And that's how I get into the mural thing. I just got a job for this with Helen together.
Yep.
And we actually had no idea what paint we should use, how we are going to draw this on a big scale or whatever. We just did it. And of course it was not perfect, but it was okay.
So like job done, and you kind of maybe like freaked at a certain time, was like, shit, how am we gonna do this and like fix this or do the time thing?
We had so many moments when we drew the first mural where we're like, shit, this is fucked up. How are we going to do this now? I have no idea. And then somehow we came up with a solution, and somehow it worked out. And that's the best feeling. When you like have this big problem and then you solved it. And so that's actually a cool thing, and that's the best feeling you can get after you did a job, that you did actually a good job, although you had a lot of struggle and you learned a lot about it.
Damn, okay, that's like an other interesting perspective about art actually, because I talked to Kevin, I think, about it, like that for some people art is more like problem solving, really. And I feel like you could kind of get in the boat with that, because like you said, you feel like the best feeling about having a job done is kind of overcoming all the troubles that maybe seem like so big in the moment, but then you kind of find a way to do it anyways. And I think it's really interesting. I never really thought about it that way, I think.
I mean, after a while with the mural thing, for example, you won't have this much trouble
you
again.
get into the routine.
You get
again.
into it, and then of course it's also a lot of fun if you know how it works and that you know that it's going to be good and that there are no problems. But after all, at the end, it's also a nice feeling, like to know that there was a big problem and you solved it somehow.
Sure. I mean, I think it also does something with your confidence when you like take something on that you feel like is maybe above your level or like out of your comfort zone completely, and then you do it anyways, and it's okay. It's maybe not the perfect thing, but it's okay. You're like, alright, I can, push myself, and like, it's not terrible, it's cool, it's like, I can work with that.
I mean, at the end, everything is going to be fine. Even if you just accepted this job and it somehow didn't work out and you failed, what's going to happen? I mean, maybe you don't get the money, maybe kind of, I don't know, the client won't
book you again.
But I mean, that's how it is. Yeah.
That's something I really admire about you, because I feel like not a lot of people have this calm view of this kind of stuff, because I, for certain, would completely freak out. I would be like, oh my god, I fucked it up and it's terrible and I did that and no, like how could I, blah blah blah, blah. But I feel like, I mean, I did a couple jobs with you together, and like especially when we had this decoration job at like the Soho house, I think we had a couple moments where we were like oh snap, this is weird. Like it was like a Halloween party, but like big scale and a lot of decoration, not a lot of time, and Hannah was just like she's right now.
You know what I think about my mom, because she used to tell me, Hannah, you're not going to die, so it's fine.
Yeah.
You have food, you have a bed.
Yeah.
So what should happen?
Yeah.
And that's somehow always a reminder for me when something is going wrong.
Yeah.
Either I have the possibility to like get mad about it and to be like super grumpy, and or I have the possibility to just say, okay, that's how it is. I'm not going to die. What is going to happen? Yeah, it's kind of fuck it attitude that you should maybe should not have always.
Yeah.
But at some points when you know that that this feeling is going to give you some really, really bad emotions, you should start to maybe think about, is it worth it?
Is it really that bad? Like, is it really worth having like a really bad day or a week or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good. That's actually really good advice, and I feel like this is super good advice for people like of every trade, but also if you want to get into the art thing, to just like don't take it too seriously. Just like roll with it, and if it doesn't work out, you're like, okay, well, that was a try, learn something, and let's like move on with something different or whatever, or do the same thing again and be better at it. All right, we have 5 more minutes. Nice, also for you to know that, and for you guys. Oh, we didn't give Lars a theme.
Oh,
maybe. Oh, I know one.
Yeah.
Like companion. Draw a companion, like a cat or something.
Like a wicked companion.
Oh, that would be lit. Very subtle product placement at the very end. Nice, I love it. Oh man, yeah, but that's so cool. So, yeah, I mean, what would you say is like? Actually, I think I never asked you this before.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get into drawing? Like, what was it? Because I know you also studied illustration, right? At the IED in Berlin.
Yeah.
Like, how did you decide to do that? What was the motivation?
I don't actually know when the point came that I decided that I wanted to draw. When I went to school, even first grade, my favorite class was always art class, and I just loved it. Also, my mom used to draw a lot at home, and she bought me canvases, and I was always drawing with her, and it was just fun. So at one point in your life, you get the question from your teacher or from your parents or from your friends, what do you want to do? And I was like, drawing.
Yeah.
Because at this point in my life, I enjoyed it a lot, and I drew a lot, and it never. Well, there was one phase in my life where I wanted to have a farm.
Okay.
Just for 1 year with like pigs and chickens and all that. I don't know, 10 maybe.
Okay. That's so cute.
But yeah, this idea faded very fast.
Okay.
And I always had this nice imagination of me living in a small apartment in Berlin, just painting or drawing or doing whatever with art. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So there was not this particular I don't know, spot in my life where I asked myself and decided, oh, I want to do art. It was just always there somehow.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, for me, I got asked the same question, obviously, like in the last years of school or like shortly after, and for me it was like kind of the only thing that I could do for hours and not get bored. So on that basis, I kind of decided to like pursue that, and that's wasn't like a big calling moment, like, oh my god, I have to do this whole life, but it was just like, you know, I really enjoy that, and I like spending time with that, and that's totally valid, like as a cause.
Yeah. I think also I'm also very lucky with my mom, because she always wanted to get into art more, but her parents were like, no, you need to learn like a real
proper job.
Yeah, a proper job. And I think right now my mom tries to give me all that space to do what I want. I mean, even if it was music or something else, she would like to do whatever you want, and I'm very thankful for that.
That's really
and
sweet.
Maybe that's also a thing that kind of
took
me in the
more into
same in the nice direction, or in the direction.
Yeah, I feel that as well, because my mom was a lawyer and she was like, don't do that, don't study law, like whatever you do, just don't do that. Yeah, so I get it. Aww.
Yeah,
that's so sweet. I really love that. I'm so grateful, like I said before, for like the supportive environment that I had, and I mean you had as well. Because cool. All right, guys. Last minute actually. So I think we just can use this last minute to kind of wrap it up a bit.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for tuning in so far. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you drew along. If you did, you can totally tag us on Instagram with Drink and Draw Berlin. And thank you Wacom actually for having us, for giving us this opportunity. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think I learned a lot about everybody that I talked to, and just had a really good time basically.
Yeah, and thank you, Aline, for your great hosting for the whole evening. Nice questions. Thank you very much.
Of course. All right, I think that's it then.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
Thank you guys so much. Cool. Sweet. And it's a wrap.
It's a Mars wrap.
Ich glaube, das ist okay, oder? Ja.